2024 was certainly a year. While the indies were releasing hit after hit after hit, who could foresee that roguelike poker was going to be this disruptive? The big studios could only dream of such success, dropping games that did not meet expectations, telling you that you don't own anything, or just releasing completely dead on arrival, or in Concord's case, deadlocked. Leaving a lot of fine folks out of work as the bubble continues to collapse for all but those in the gilded castles. I wish you all find yourself on solid ground sooner rather than later. The fact that we have a document that shows how severe this is very telling of how they view the people involved. Myself? I actually ended up playing more modern, mostly indie games, and I had a blast. Let me share with you some of my favorites so you too can have more joy in your life. Hopefully, assuming you don't work at Ubisoft. This might come as a bit of a shock, but I'm not that into roguelikes. A lot of the appeal of them is replayability. Endless content forever! I generally like the ones that are laser focused on gameplay elements. Case in point, Hades. I respect the game, its appeal, aesthetics, how it uses the structure of the genre for storytelling. I wish Supergiant all the best with the sequel. I just can't get into it. And it's not just action roguelikes either. Anything with deck building can be just as difficult. I struggle to even construct a Hearthstone deck, and now you want me to make one on the fly? I can't handle that. I'm stupid. So imagine my surprise when one of the best games I played this year is both of these things. I know, it shocked me too. Cobalt Core could easily be described as Slay the Spire meets FTL. It's not a perfect comparison, but it gets the ideas across pretty well. You jump from place to place, partake in ship combat, win, hopefully, and add something new to the deck. I think the reason I latched onto it so easily is the core concept, hehe. Everything takes place on distinct rows. Weapons only target the lines they inhabit. My weak point is located on my cockpit. That all tracks. What this game allows is movement. No matter the deck, you get some free movement at the start of a fight. Using this, you can shift lanes to line up attacks or dodge incoming ones. I cannot understate the simplicity of this system. How it makes you feel like a mega genius, when in reality you just remembered you have some free movement and everything just worked out. Omae wa shinderu. Nani? And the best part is you can lean on the movement as much or as little as you need. If you favor something that doesn't interact with it in any way, maybe like a shield build, knock yourself out. Some characters, aka colors, play off of it in unique ways. Parry will do strafing attacks. Riggs just wants to smooth every turn with a side order of overdraw. While my boy Isaac is focused on launching drones and mid-row manipulation, cluttering the field with things that benefit me. These are things that eased me into Cobalt Core. The music and story, on the other hand, took me captive. I have no clue what genre this is. Electro? Trance? It's good. Really good. Menus in the world map are very ethereal. Which dynamically smash cuts into upbeat pulsing tracks. My favorite playing when a mystery someone shows up. And the thing that ties all of this together is Cobalt Core takes place over a time loop, but it's a loop everyone is aware of. Characters are allowed to have ongoing conversations during runs. Things can change ever so slightly, some may even change sides. It's so charming and effortlessly funny. I was still finding interactions on my completed save, that's nuts. That rarely happens. Coalescing into an epilogue where I care about the parts and the people that make up my deck. I can't recommend it enough to everyone, regardless of experience in the genre. It's also controller friendly. Thank you, Rocket Rat Games. I love you, smoochy smoochy. Smoochy smoochy. How about we jump to the extreme opposite? Gravity Circuit is Mega Man seen through the lens of Eurobeat. That's it, that's the whole review. What more do you want me to say? You can hear the music. We gotta go fast! Move it, get out of the way, Grandpa! It's a game in the same vein as The Messenger, designed for those who just want a good time. Though if you scrutinize the stage, it starts to resemble a playground of ideas. The obvious mechanic is the grapple hook, used to swing or to pull things to you. The key feature of it is grabbing defeated enemies. Smack them until they go grayscale, the universal signifier of death, and now you have a weapon to beat his friends with. Well, if they throw something at you, grab it. Grenade, icicles, shields. The only thing off the menu is things with a certain outline. Gravity Circuit is a game about realizations. Sure, you can grab this missile, but do you have to? Here's a shortcut to getting good at this game. If you can grab it, chances are it's punchable. Wait, why am I jumping over these? Fuck this. Just having these two options alone creates a very strong gameplay loop. We strive for more. This is no mere imitation, it's Eurobeat. It's time to break out the specials. As long as you have a gauge to use them, it's free game. By the time you've beaten the intro stage, you have at your disposal a lungeon punch, a dragon punch with enough invulnerability to make Ken Masters blush, a parry because why not, and a goddamned Izuna drop. God bless. After every stage, 2 more gets added to the store, and I found it difficult to settle on a definitive move list. I gotta keep the DP and the Izuna drop, obviously. Everything else got shuffled all the way to the credits. This is also ignoring the 25 passives to slot in, which are different to the passive colors. You know in Shovel Knight you can get alternative armors with gimmicks, and there's only like 2 options that are quote-unquote good? Gravity Circuit has the same problem. Air dashes and honest-to-god telefrags are hard to beat. Though it says something that I stuck with the base color the whole game. Wanna know why? It builds more meter for special attacks. Such a simple solution to make the default viable. I'm gonna need it for the bosses, cause guess what? This is secretly a beat 'em up. I haven't found a touch of death yet. Bosses build undizzy when you hit them. Undizzy? What the hell am I talking about? Let me speak in English. Bosses become invulnerable if they sustain too much damage in one go. Once they hit half, the signature attacks start coming out, which are always a joy to dodge. I think my biggest gripe with Gravity Circuit is that there is nothing past the story. No extra fights or secret content. The only thing left to do now is to S-rank every level, which I think speaks to the quality of the game. If the only thing I can complain about is needs more things to punch. I have quite a few games to get through this year. I'm as shocked as you that I played things that could be described as new or recent. With the stream having a semi-return, I ended up replaying something that's only 21 years old. I mean, in the context of human history, it's basically brand new. I love Sands of Time so much, dude. When I think of 6th Gen, it's sitting right at the top next to Kingdom Hearts. It did so much for the industry when it came to 3D platforming. Not punishing you for easy mistakes with the safety net that is the Sands mechanic. Way before we gave people generous checkpoints. Walking the fine line between player-controlled exploration and cinematic set pieces. All the Arabian Night tropes blown up to a mythical scale. You can't go 1 second before finding a breathtaking vista. Yeah, but you have to stab enemies to kill them? Shush. The environments have also aged beautifully thanks to the well-directed lighting. Orange and blue were the key colours in the palette, and they complement any scene they occupy. With a nice smattering of green too, adding details to sell the locations. The constant breeze of floating sands reminds the prince of his ultimate goal. I don't think that an absolute ponce like him has ever been portrayed this likeable since. He's a stuffy daddy's boy who thinks his position is something he's entitled to.
I know where I am. This gate leads to the baths. Do you think you could find your way there?
Of course. Finding my way to the baths from here should be easy.
Good. I'll meet you there.
I'll just ask the first sand creature I run into. Could you direct me to the baths, please? Well, thank you. Don't mention it. I used to be a bath attendant back when I was alive.
He airs his thoughts throughout the adventure to an audience of nobody.
I'll meet you at the baths. She orders me around as if I were a servant. It's my own fault. With women, you need to show them you're in charge right from the start, or they'll walk all over you. I've been too indulgent. Probably because I felt sorry for her. Well, it stops now. From now on, she'll have to toe the line. That is, assuming I can find her.
But it doesn't come across as blatant narration. It's his way of coping with the loss of his whole family, stranded in a foreign kingdom. His only companion is a woman whose life he single-handedly ruined. Why should she trust him? How could she? It's just so all earnestly acted. What were they thinking, making some of the monsters immune to volts? All it does is make the game more grueling to play. Like, God, I want it to be over. I'm about to drop the take of the century, and none of you are ready for it. The combat in Sands of Time is pretty good, and the devs did not trust both the quality of the platforming and the length of the game. My lengthy segment defending the combat of Sands of Time has been removed from the video. TLDR? Go in with the expectations of it being a bit of a slog. Treat it like an Arkham combat system, where you manage to control a crowd more than simply deplete an enemy's health bar, and you'll be fine. If you enjoyed everything about Sands of Time but the combat, then please consider also playing Warrior Within. In terms of a sequel, it is very funny. Ubisoft looking at the original sales of the first game and wondering if smearing the whole thing in grunge would help. Creating a perfect time capsule of mid-2000s gameplay and pop culture. This ain't your dad's video game like Elite. Our heroes swear now. You bitch! They rebuilt the combat into this free-throw system of using weapons found as temporary buffs that you can toss away or into others at a moment's notice. The platforming has lost some of its direction, less about climbing something spectacular and more about a means of transit. Also suffers from too much game. Both Prince of Persias need a little tweaking for widescreen and other fixes. Nothing you can't figure out by checking out PC Gaming Wiki. I gotta say, the PC port is starting to fall apart big time. Analog inputs have only gotten worse and I've encountered a new bug for me. The printer's on the floor, soft-locked, until I get hit. Which I can't because that would kill me. What about Two Thrones? If you enjoyed the other two, you might as well finish up the trilogy. It's a mess of ideas, story, cut-down feature creep. The city setting is interesting enough for me. However, you might want to track down a console version. The PC port is much worse off than the other two. I ended up replaying so many things this year, more than I can fit into this video, so how about a little lightning round before we get back to the new stuff? I'll also include things in the description for most of these games, fixes, mods, links, little things like that. Sonic Adventure! I'm no apologist, I know what this game is. I can tell you, however, that all current modern ports have damaged this game nearly as much as 2010's internet culture. I beg you, if you get the urge, try the Dreamcast overhaul. As someone who's played the original, I forgot how good the art direction was. I get it, this is not how it looked with its 60 FPS widescreen. That's a modern convenience, duh. It's the waves actually shaking the bridge. The clouds and skydeck shifting with the altitude. The ice caves actually having some bloody color to it. Now, I do prefer DX's color palette for Mystic Jungle, I will admit that. Everything else is a humongous glow up. It also has so many fixes. I can now play Twinkle Park without going insane! I hear them. They're a mile away and I can still hear them. What a cool ass video game ride this is. From the moment you boot it up, we get an animated intro. The music is punchy and energetic. All the races fall into 3 categories: speed, flight, and power, with the tracks made to suit their niche, reducing the monotony of seeing the same race over and over. Lots of routes that change based on your imperfect jumps, which feeds into your air meter, something you need lots of to smoothly drift through the corners. Its biggest blemish is the lack of any difficulty modes. At the beginning, these races are impossible, with the AI leaving you in the dust. 2 hours later and you're begging them to keep up with you. Still though, we have 2 campaigns with cutscenes, mission modes, and a shop for solo players. Great for a weekend game. Phantasy Star Online. When a raiding buddy asked if I wanted to play the original Phantasy Star, I jumped at the chance. It's something I've always wanted to go through and appreciate the value it had at the time, and enjoy its everlasting character. And by play Phantasy Star, we mean all of it. Episode 1, 2, 4, hell, I think we're still floating the idea of jumping into a private server for the true card experience. What I've learned from going backwards is, this game is bullshit! Positive bullshit! If you decide to play this, maybe play something other than a melee that can be poisoned or paralyzed. Starting from the second zone, the flowers will keep evolving and will torture you until credits. It's got a lot of depth for something so simple in its mechanics, when multiplayer games had mystery just for the hell of it. Super Robot Wars OG Saga Endless Frontier EX Third Strike. Can anyone tell me what genre Valkyrie profile is? That juggle-style combat that rewards you for knowing your attacks inside and out. All I know is that it is a very anime idea. Speaking of anime, I don't know a thing about Super Robot Wars, the series, other than it has a bunch of mechs from everything. OG Saga feels like someone's long-running fanfic of those games. The writing in this game is unhinged. Everyone's body proportions are used as joke fodder right up to the credits. Our female leads' assets get like 40 nicknames. It's relentless. Not just the women too, everyone is hot and must be commented on. Though it does lean in one direction. At one point, a fish lady calls the lead a smoothie. And that being used as the logical opposite of scaly has fundamentally changed my DNA for the worse. Yeah, but how's the game though? Well, you press a button and they do a combo. Link combos for big damage. The floor is lava and you're the platform. I feel like this is a game you can tell if it's up your alley just by looking at it. It's crass, the music refuses to chill. The combat turns into an art form. Definitely not for the faint of heart. I would know because I've never been able to finish it. Too much psychic damage. I'm sure by now people have noticed that I might be a bit of a 14 head. I've referenced Limsa, brought up raiding, and the whole beginning of the Sudeki video is me taking advantage of the Moonfire fair before it ends. It's the only MMO I've stuck with long term. And that's me trying multiple times. Honestly, I think it's made me a better player overall. I grasp mechanics and patterns much faster than I used to. So when friends recommended Rabbit and Steel, a roguelike with an emphasis on raid mechanics, I was very interested. The first thing people usually say when they look at this game is, "Oh, it's a Toho? I'm not very good at those." I won't lie to you, having some kind of shmup experience will make dodging some of these bullets easier, no doubt about that. You gotta remember it's emulating Final Fantasy XIV first and foremost. Enemies have patterns of attacks and you can learn them easily, but no matter how much you flex your knowledge of Crimson Clover, World Ignition, once the mechanics come out to play, you're screwed. I mean, it has Knights of the Round, for goodness sakes. Raw reactions can only carry you so far, and that's the key difference between this game and its first impression. Every world you pass to has a new flavor of death, projectiles, debuff management, full room cleaves, baiting, goddamn spell and waiting. On the default difficulty, everything is a breeze. Concepts are presented one at a time, making sure to never overwhelm you. Kinda like dungeons, for example. Hard, on the other hand, is more like extremes. You can sorta wing a few mechanics to an extent, but once the big attacks come out, you need to understand and respond. This is usually where I play the game for a few runs now and again. Just challenging enough, having fun with all the builds and characters. There is a small element of RNG to how overpowered you can be, which does suck. Seeing more of the fight equals more chances to biff it. There is an enrage timer should you dilly-dally. Hope you know your rotation. Luna is made for the hardcore audience. I've yet to beat a solo run on this godforsaken difficulty. There's only so much you can home gang your way to victory. Now, should you invite your friends or join a party online, now you need to deal with living, breathing landmines. Rabbit and Steel has multiplayer exclusive mechanics. Stacks and spreads quickly spice up any fight. How about tethers? Too vanilla? Throw in the 4-man tether! I would advise sticking with normal unless everyone has prior experience with the game. Things can get bad fast. If you want to keep it to single player, then don't worry, it does have a sort of world progression. Events play out as the bosses meet each other with a defined credits to work towards. Didn't hit me in the same way as Cobalt Core. Still very cute and highly worth your time. DLC coming next year. I am very excited. And it has more Tasha. We love Tasha. Can I make a small confession? Something that might shake you to your very core. I'm not the biggest fan of Banjo-Kazooie. I know, and I'm sorry. Just like with the Hades example from earlier, I can appreciate everything the game has and has done. I love the music. Kazooie is best bird. Just when playing it, there's something that bothers me, and to this day I've not been able to pinpoint it. And that's been the same for any collectathon that's pulled more from Banjo than Mario. Despite everything, Corn Kid 64 was a fantastic time. I'm sure you've noticed that it looks like it could be on the console that inspired it. The CR filter is an in-game option. It has a bunch of stuff to tweak. Make it look like a crisp 60 FPS retro throwback, or 100% faithful to the 90s. Me, I love my widescreen when it's off at 60, take it or leave it. The whole game has this surreal feel to it, taking place in a dream world, featuring a goat protagonist named Seb. It's a coincidence, I'm sure. All feeling like a Halloween episode of your favorite cartoon show. The second shocker is Seb is very underpowered for this genre. Banjo hits deity levels with his stand Kazooie, and over here Seb has jump, headbutt, jump, headbutt. At first you struggle with this limited moveset, every gap feeling like you made it by a pixel. It was common for me to just go, nah. He does have this wall cling that's kinda useful. Can't use a headbutt jump if you wall jump through it, so it can't be that... help it... Okay. If Seb headbutts a wall, he can jump off of it. I'm calling that a headbutt jump. He can also wall jump off of a wall cling. If he wall clings, he cannot wall jump. You can't headbutt jump if he wall cling jump. Does that make any sense? There is one upgrade you can find, a drill hat that lets you dig through dirt surfaces. Everything else needs to be beaten with a meager set of moves. Corn Kids throw challenges at you steadily, ramping up bit by bit, before you realize that you never needed anything else. Moving with confidence, entering a room and smiling at the challenges. That wall cling is way more nuanced than you gave it credit for, giving you much more granular control than other platformers. It's rare in games that nothing about it fundamentally changes. It's the player that's changed for the better, gaining total mastery over its mechanics. And if you're feeling cocky after beating the final area, collect enough XP, and Anxiety Tower is your reward. A grueling climb that removes checkpoints. Death now kicks you right back to the start. All you have for comfort is this sick OST. Remember what I said last year about tracker music feeling different? Yeah. It all has this edge to it, a little rebellious. I've been playing it the whole time. And the track used in the Hollow Tree, dude. Corn Kids is short if you rush through it, maybe even 3 to 4 hours. Dig through the reeds and playtime can extend well past that. It has secrets, it's just up to you to find them. An easy recommend for those platformer enthusiasts out there. I hope the dev continues to make games if they're interested. Not even platformers, they have such a strong voice and style. Casually making the best wall-clinging gaming, what else are they capable of? Wow, that was a lot of video games, huh? Now that's all out the way, how about we talk about the past, present, and future? I was so sure that I was going to make more stuff this year. Plans, documents, lots of prep work. And all I have to show for it is 5 videos. One less than last year. Oof. I do think they're of a more consistent quality this time, with the Shadow Hearts Covenant and the Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter being my favourites. Though I've definitely been a bit more negative this year. Not for any outside reason, mind you. Just that that's how I truly feel about some things. What shocked me is the Sudeki video doing as well as it did. Dragon Quarter was also a nice surprise too. I actually received quite a nice tip from YouTube. Enough for me to consider taking this more seriously. Like maybe approaching it less as a hobby and more of a business. Very scary to think about. Honestly, the big drawback this year was my broken sleep schedule. If you kept up with my community posts, you might remember me complaining about it. It's been a problem for all of 2024. Something that I'm not sure I can fix anytime soon. and that's the rub, isn't it? I can't promise consistency going forward. All I can put forward is effort. Now that Dragon Quarter has proved that I don't need to cover a series from scratch, if I can't get to the whole of Wild Arms, I'm at least playing the third game. I love that one. And Breath of Fire 3. I have the Skeleton of the Parasite Eve 2 script done. I need a second playthrough to round it out though. I wasn't expecting that. Oh, if we want to talk about funny though, the Summoner series keeps bubbling up to the top. But I don't think anyone actually wants that. Does anyone want that? Tell me if you do. Genuinely. I want to talk about Summoner 2. And Summoner 1 is funny. And if you want to stay updated, I have a Blue Sky account now. Whoa! I never really posted anything on Twitter anyway, so nothing is really lost. I make an effort to post something way more, usually little gameplay clips. If you go check it now, you'll probably find a few things. Here's to another year of making silly little videos, and thanking all of you that appreciate what I do. See you for something niche and cozy. Bye-bye.